The Late Pick 5 Saturday at Churchill Downs is today's focus, but it's also a daily double bonanza. Let's win some money. Hello, welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Today we are attacking that Late Pick 5, which will be races 7 through 11 Saturday's card, aka the Late Pick 5 Hammer Time. Along the way, we're going to be dropping several daily double plays. I've had some pretty good success with that recently. Lots of bookends going on there. And we're on the verge of that 3,500 subscribers, which is going to trigger that $35 split the pot Thanksgiving draw next week. So if you're new to the channel, check the description. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to be eligible. Then you just drop your comment with your single or best bet. And let's get to cracking. Okay, before we jump into race number 7, I thought of a new acronym for everybody to remember. Not everybody that watches the video hits that like button, but it helps the channel so much. So just remember ABC the L. That is always be clicking the like. So let's start with number 1, Agro. Okay. 4-1 morning line. This is a mile and 16th fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. So this first one is a recent claim for 20,000. Pretty good effort going a mile in the slop. Got a second place finish there. But switches to low percent trainer. Post position 1's not the best position. All the connections don't look good, so I'm tossing this one. Now, whenever you're hanging out at the rail, don't you always hear somebody say, "Oh, I had that one too"? Great name for a racehorse. How many times does trainer Paul McGee excel at these claiming level conditions? Well, he's 12 for his last 35 and 71% in the money. Positive ROIs around. Going right here. So Paul McGee, low-key good. And just a little quick story. My dad knows his dad. My dad used to play golf with Jimmy McGee, who was an absolute character. Dude loved to gamble. So Paul McGee, the son, doing a good job. Marty McGee, his brother, wrote for the Daily Racing Form forever. So I like Paul McGee. Got some family ties there, even though we don't really know each other. It's just kind of interesting. My dad knows a lot of people from back in the day. But anyway, this one is posting competitive speed figures going back to 2024. The form dipped after that. He was claimed away from McGee in May. This is where I find it interesting is that after these pair of second place finishes with Tyler Bays riding at Del Mar, he went back and reacquired. So sometimes I can't always tell how they do it because this was in an optional claimer and they left him protected. So somehow or another, McGee got a hold of this horse again, which to me is significant. So nice value on the board there. Now we have number 3, and you give me another excuse to do honor impression. It's faster la vista, baby. Okay, that's enough. Paul Brown, the trainer, Walter Rodriguez rides. Absolute crash at Churchill Downs coming off the Keeneland effort, beating 12, finishing 12th by 40. I'm going to have to say hasta la vista to baby on this one. Maybe she'll be back, but I'm just going to have to miss out on that because none of the figures look good. I don't like the connections. Poor trainer win percentage, all that kind of stuff. So we're passing Ladan, just 2 for 26 lifetime, 0 for 13 at Churchill Downs. The trainer is historically pretty good second off the claim, Matt Shear. But the Keeneland effort was a really bad look, beating 40 and just got moved up to 6th through disqualification. So just done early is not a good sign for me on a horse with previous speed figures that don't line up either. Now, manage expectations. We're starting to get into the meat here. This one actually was trained previously by Paul McGee, but Eric Foster has him now. But McGee cashed in on this 3-year-old filly, getting the $20,000 claim plus the purse money, winning by 5.5. That's how you do it. So Eric Foster takes over. Gabe Saez gets the mount. So she tried the turf at Ellis, going a mile, respectable 3rd, then jumped to the Churchill dirt. Very nice looking 2nd before the flipping to the win, even though it was a tracked a very slow pace, -11, coming home even slower, -15. They didn't want to run, but she did. So that's always a good sign. And Gabriel Saez not on a hot streak whatsoever. He is really struggling. So this one I'm going to probably temper my expectations on. But this one does look like you could flip her right back around for another win. So maybe Gabriel Saez can pick one up here. Now, Ms. Malice. Fun fact: this dam was sired by Palace Malice, and this Saturday is actually the anniversary of the fight. Palace Malice was named after that awesome brawl that took place in the Detroit Pistons Indiana Pacers game back in the day. You remember Ron Artest and all that running into the stands? That was just really just crazy madness. But this one last raced under jockey Mario Gutierrez, who's actually having a really good meet. 5 wins in 4 seconds in 25 starts. So Gutierrez had this one the last 4 times out and made a really nice inside rail move right here into a fast pace and got home to win by a neck. So it is going to be making a class hike, which is going to be tough. So I'm probably going to take a wait and see on this one. And then you have 457, and not much interest here. Brittany Vandenberg picks this one up. Poor trainer, third off, layoff, all that kind of stuff. Low percent trainer, beaten by weaker on turf. Just like so many better. A little more cracking. We all need a little more cracking. Speed figures, looking a little light on this one. Ian Wilkes does train. First 9 months of 2025 on the shelf before debuting in September, which was originally going to be on the turf, got pulled, got beat 15, then tries minor league stakes race, beaten 11. Maybe improves off the layoff, but Leperoux, I'm not big on for the win here. So we'll be passing. Bump in the night. This one is under Michelle Lavelle after the May 25th victory at Horseshoe. And here's Bump in the Night. So she tried to turn around in a mile and got stuck in the slop and couldn't get going, tight in traffic, but did rally up to improve a little bit. So maybe second off the layoff, but she doesn't really have great stats anywhere across the board there. So looking at others in this one, like Wits and Wagers, which I believe, yes, rounds out the field. So Steve Asmussen picks up Tyler Gaffleone again for the second off the claim. Of course, he claimed this one back in October for 20,000, and then turned around and cashed a check next out. Was able to close to third, missing by just a length, going 6.5. So we are stretching out to a mile and a 16th here, which bodes well for this one's chances. So I think was a little slow in that race out of the break, but good effort nonetheless. So that rounds out race 1 of the pick 5 leg. And I like the number 2. I had that one too for a value play. I do like the number 10 Wits and Widgets. I believe I'll go with the, and I also like the 5 Manage Expectations. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to bet this race on a single race bet. I may not even, I may pass on it altogether if I don't get more confidence, or, check back Saturday for race adjustments at post scratch. But I did originally put together a trifecta ticket of 510 over 2510 over 25610. So 2 over 3 over 4. I might even try putting the 2 on the top of that and then go 334. But leg 1 of the pick 5 is going to be 2510. And your first daily double is I'm going to go 2510 over our next race single, the 4. So like I mentioned before, clicking that like button, very important to growing the channel. It also makes my videos come up more often for horse racing fans alike, and it helps spread the content. That's why I appreciate everybody doing that more. And commit that to memory, ABC, the L. Always be clicking that like. Hashtag BHS. Now moving on to race number 8. Let's take a look. Race number 8, going 6.5 furlongs. This is for 2-year-old fillies, maidens. So this one, is going to be tough. We got a lot of first-time starters in here. And I might have already spoiled things with the daily double pick before that. But we'll go off the payroll. First-time starters. If you watch my content, I largely fade first-time starters unless they're really top-level trainers in that category. Maybe aligned with top-level jockeys that ride good first-time starters or good 2-year-olds, things of that nature. I don't really see either of this, but I do see a little breeding from the dam side here. And that's pretty good. It says 10 winners from 10 starters, a stakes winner. So Brian Lynch is on a hot streak right now. You can see he's got 6 wins and 14 starts recently, which is just on fire. So this one you could take a look at if you'd like. But I think stuck in on the first pole position is not going to be a good thing for this one. So Aunt Cheryl's another first-time starter for Dale Romans. I'm not big on Dale Romans with first-time starters. He's not very good here. This one does also have pretty good stats on the dam side as well, but we're going to pass on that one. And then we're going to go to Marjoram. And this one is bred and owned by Jedamont Farms, Mike McCarthy, Louis Saez. McCarthy a little better, 10%. Not like stellar, but pretty good. Not many are above 10% first time starters unless you're Brad Cox or Todd Pletcher or somebody. But inside posts, poor. I'm not paying attention to this because I keep seeing it. But because this race is coming out, it's not a shoot, but it's going 6.5 furlongs, and you got plenty of time. And as long as you're not like hung wide around the first turn, I think the number 3 post is not bad. So I ignore that altogether, in my opinion. But this was by Quality Road, and so it's got a sharp. You can see these sharp 4 furlong workout. You see those all the time in these past performances, Brisnet style. Well, Brisnet also has something, and I go through Twin Spires, so all I have to do is place a wager, and it's free. So it's called Insider Picks and Power Plays. I never really bring this up because it's people are like, oh, you use tip sheets too, huh? Well, not really, because I don't like the picks. I've been following this thing for a long time, and the picks are not all that great. I don't know who does them for Brisnet, but I almost look at who's got the asterisk, and I go against. I actually pick against. Now, sometimes I do go with the 3-star bets, and which that does hit us in race number 8, which is the the joke maker here. But we'll get to that one in just a second. But what I want to show you why I use this is the power play angles. All these down here, it tells you hot trainer, this, that, and the other. But at the bottom, you get all these just like I don't know, charts or whatever you want to call them, hot jockeys, hot trainers. I don't really pay attention to all of it. I like track bias to compare with the past performances because it'll give you for the meet and then for the week, and it'll give you like which posts are doing good. So that kind of gives you an idea on what to look at. The like this race is going 1.1 miles on the dirt. You can see 28 races, only 4% wire, 0 for 10 wire. Outside posts look pretty good. Recently, sustained closers were doing better, but now it's shifting toward more the pressers. So that's kind of thing. Then you have blue chip trainer plays where you can get your ROI, different percentages. But what helps me is the clocker specials. And that's where you get those works where you see sharp 4 furlong work, things of that nature. And this just gives you a little more information on it. So I kind of like to get a good idea there. And then, of course, you got distance specialists, other angles whatsoever. So it is kind of just an extra tool that I like to look at, but I don't use it to make picks whatsoever. So back to the PPs. Jokey the Joke Maker, sired by a Practical Joke, trained by Rod Brissett, Tyler Gaffleone on the mount. Finished third. So this one's still a maiden and just missed that 32K. And they must have really liked what they saw there. Rallied up for second best at going 5 furlongs and then stretches to sixth, but moves up to 100K and gets beat by a horse that comes back to win its next race. So breaks the maiden and then goes back to back. So I don't really dent the effort at all there. Ran on is a good thing. It then goes up to a mile in the Pocahontas, another third place finish, but it was definitely a class jump. So drops back down to 7 furlongs and still misses by 3/4 of a length. Off a step slow. That's probably what cost her coming in late. I like Practical Joke fillies. Obviously, adding blinkers is a big deal because maybe there's a little more focus, a little more forwardly placed. That's what I'm thinking. Practical Joke is not a sustained closer. Practical Joke was more of a presser. So more on the pace. I like this within a length and a half, 2 lengths of the lead. That's where we want to be. So that's why I singled Joke Maker in the part of the double. Now, easy effort, first time starter. I don't like any of the connections. I know they do have pretty decent stats as far as first time goes, but I'm passing on that one. These are not going on the ticket. These would be for if you just wanted to toss one out. Like Tapajo Bell looks pretty good for Mark Sims. Dam has 6 winners from 6 starters. Breeding does suit the distance, all that stuff, pretty good. But then you got a low percent jockey, poor first time starter record, 3% 28 starts. So things of that nature pass there. Now, Kayla's Comet, Brett Calhoun, blinkers come on, third start, a couple of good ones. Maybe lost a little focus in this maiden second out coming down the stretch because really fell behind late in the race. So just out kick there, and maybe the blinkers will get this one more enthused about the finish. And that let's see what I have for number 7. First time blinkers, route to sprint. She's a player. Now, the concern is Gabe Saez, like I mentioned before, just 1 out of the last 26, which is not good, but maybe he's due. Maybe he gets a win in one of these. 4-1 is a little bit too low for me to go with. But then you got jockeys like Jose Ortiz, Touch of Magic, the 8 horse. Into Mr. Philly, Steve Asmussen, Positive Switch. She's already shown promise in the first 2 starts. The 6.5 effort wasn't quite able to hang on, got bumped hard at the break, probably a little stressed out throughout the race. It was her debut race as a 2-year-old filly. So that kind of stuff can, get you worked up and then you kind of run out of gas before you realize it. Maybe the same thing happened, but fought on and yielded at the end going a mile. So going to have to maybe fire off a few bullets since September. And that's what she's done. You can see September 27th. And then you come back with October 6th work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 works since that race. A pair of bullets leading into a nice little 3 furlong in the mud breeze. So this one I like. Respectable horse, picking up a great jockey to cut back, all that kind of good stuff. So let's get it done. Then you have Never Said No. Now with Irad Ortiz aboard, you always have to look, but first time starter, and then you got 16% sire wins with first time starters. Gun runner. So it's wouldn't fault you for going after that. Well-bred horse with a hot jockey that can definitely pop. So keep an eye on the tote board, see if that one don't tick up to double digits or something. Then you have More Coffee, and I was trying to figure out what Asmussen was doing with this one because he's got a pair of gateworks in here, so it feels like he's really just cranking this one up for a good debut. Tons of works coming in, and he typically goes 4 furlongs, but then you have the 3 furlong work and a bunch of 5 furlong works. So all very interesting, but probably going to pass. Could be fit enough to pick up a piece, but that covers us on race 8. And so we are going to single the 4 in the pick 5 for number 4, Joke Maker. And that's for the win. Depending on the odds, I'll probably just key it on top with 5 other horses. And then maybe hopefully one of these longer odds fills out that trifecta, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All those with the 4 on top. Leg 2, single the 4, like I said, the daily double. We're going to parlay it again and go the 4 single. And then in race number 9, we're going to go 1, 5, 8. So race number 9, let's take a look. Race number 9 going 7 furlongs on the turf, or I'm sorry, on the dirt. I was just thinking there's not many turf races much anymore with the weather changing. Of course, we do have the next race coming up, race 10, which is a turf race, but they're not going to be running too much on the turf. So 3-year-olds and upward, never won 2 races. Number 1, Thunderhawk. Peter Urton and Luis Saez hook up for this one. Rail Post doing pretty well, going 7 furlongs. So good speed ratings. I like this one, but my only issue is they debuted in February 1st in 21st at 6 furlongs and just missed by a neck, and then they just shelved them. So I'm not really sure why. I didn't find any, I don't know if it was a training setback or whatever, but I was looking at the works, and it did have a post work. So it worked February 25th and then March 7th. So it had a couple of works after the race, and then after March 7th, you can see the next work isn't until September. So maybe just a minor setback, a little injury, something that cost them some time and training, or maybe they saw something they didn't like. I don't really know. Or they saw enough and they said, we're just going to hold off till the end of the year. And either way it goes, I still think the horse is all right coming in. You got a really fast, sharp work coming in. So I think this one's going to be cranked up. Second time Lasix should be beneficial. Luis Saez, definitely beneficial. So definitely going to be interested in this one. And actually that rally up the rail here in this race, I think Bejarano should have won. He hesitated when he probably could have got through on the rail. Then he busted through on the rail and still almost got there. So if he'd have just got through a little sooner, he would have easily won that race. Bob's Carrot, I'd rather have the stick on this one. Jamie Torres, I'm not my favorite jock. First in prime power for, I'm not really sure I know there's some good results, a few wins here and there, but Eric Foster trains this one. So I think this one is going to be a go against for me. As I've mentioned, wasn't quite able to get the job done as the favorite when it was claimed. So they missed out on the purse money, got a little check, but not the big one. So probably passing, beaten by a weaker, poor jockey, failed his favorite, all that stuff. Going Brody, the same thing. 0 for 3 at Churchill Downs, no placements, and then you have all these poor negatives here. Passing on that one, Lose Legacy has a few positive. Class Relief, Turf to Dirt, Could improve chances, but this one 1 for 25 lifetime. More suited for all weather. Maybe I'll keep an eye on Lou's Legacy moving over to Turfway next week or week after next, I should say. Uh, Turfway, I'm going to be doing more content on Turfway. I rarely do Turfway. The only time I really cover Turfway is when the Jeff Ruby comes around on the Derby Trail. So I'm going to be looking out for more winter content on Turfway. Then you have number 5, and what a name for a Steve Asmussen horse. He probably just saw this horse and said, "Oh, I got to have that one. I am Captain Chalk." So this one is called the Chalk, and he's got all the chalk. So he just goes ahead and gets the chalkiest jockey, Jose Ortiz, who wins 1 out of every 4 races. So all that 20% sprinter route, all the stats obviously for Asmussen in his high volume barn is good. He's just like the Amazon Prime of stables, basically. Nice win though after the claim. Flipped him in 2 weeks rest. That's pretty impressive considering this was a piss poor effort going off as a favorite. Then comes around and even with Keith Asmussen on the horse, he gets it done by 3.5. So putting Jose aboard, I'm feeling pretty good about a repeat performance here. So do not leave this one out. Now, number 6, there comes a time when Linda Rice makes a move that is called a suspicious drop in class. Now, I don't know if it's a negative stat, but to me, if your 39% drops off the claim, that's a pretty good favorite. Or pretty good stat first after the claim. So they claim she actually spent her own money, Linda Rice, claims this one for 80,000 just last October. An absolute terrible effort. I guess she thought the turf to dirt, the Kentucky Downs effort, you can excuse that bad beat, and sometimes it does good for the fitness, but obviously it did the opposite of that because the horse was awful. Lost by 15 lengths. So she only puts one workout in this horse, and now she's dropping him to 50 to try to bail out. So I don't understand. The horse is well bred. Not this time. And then you have Bachelor's Walk. Both have high percentage sire production indexes. So I'm not really sure what they saw. Maybe there's something not sound with the horse. Christian Torres aboard is another low percent Torres. So pass on that one. Riddle Solver. This one's Norm Cassie, Irad Ortiz. Another suspicious dropping class. This one's a little bit different because they're not really turning around right away. They claim this one right away. And this Matt Murphy, I kind of did some research. I wanted to look up. He was a former district attorney. So he's got some cash, but he's owned like 1 horse or 2 horses in his lifetime that I could find. So he spent 80K on this horse last May picking him up, and then leaves Norm Cassie with him all summer long, and didn't get much out of it. So the drop in for 50, it's I'm not really sure what we're working with here, because maybe Matt Murphy has a ton of money and he doesn't mind dropping down, but I guess if they win, they get the double dip. They get the 50K claim plus the purse money. But this is another one. I rate Ortiz aboard or not. I think I'm going to look other ways. So if you're a riddle solver and you can solve this riddle, let me know in the comments. ABCDL while you're at it. Good Lord. Kent Sweezy's got one here. Tyler Gaffleone rides the 8 horse, 5-1 morning line. And efficient trainer who finds the right spot. He doesn't have a big barn, but he does focus on these realistic class levels. So he brings this one in. It does not get claimed in the last outing at Churchill. So he's going to drop down to 50 here and try to pick one up. And they did pay 155 for this horse back in 2023 or 2023, I should say. So along the way, it's made 114,000. So it's on its way to recouping what they paid for it. So the hot trainer, I like the 4 wins and 13 starts, 4 third places, and decent stats across the board. Of course, Gaffleone is riding as good as always. So just 1 for 17 lifetime, but has a chance, I think, to get it done here. At least using exotics, I think. Yeah, I think he's a player. 7 for 10 in the money. So that's in 2025, 7 for 10. And you can see it right here. Just nothing less than seconds and thirds. And then the only 4th place finish before this 5th here was by a neck. So he almost got the win going 30 for 30,000. So solid horse. Then you have timing difference. Nippenberg, he had that horse Merchant that ran really well in the spring at Churchill on the turf. He seems to be more concentrated on the turf. He did try this one on the turf last out, didn't work out, but he's going back to dirt, where he doesn't have the greatest percentage. Not terrible, but not great either. He is 31% in the claiming ranks, 58% in the money, so that does bode well for him. But that's 26 starts. Most of those are probably turf, as far as I'm going. So I'm going to pass there. Probably going to skip on Colonel Caliente too. This was claimed from Mike Maker for 40K. Now, the one thing I do like is it's sired by Army Mule, who I like for sprint races, for sure. So good speed figures. faster than the average winning speed. Army Mule produces really fast horses. It's going to be hanging on down the stretch when better horses are chasing him, I think, is what's going to be the problem here if he's out on the pace like this. So 40 Love is the almost rounds out the field, I should say. Another Kent Sweezy, but I'm not going with this one. Churchill Downs is not positive versus lesser company. So okay speed figures, but not really there. And Michael's Cove is long shot outside post, 9-month layoff. None of that. Now, first Lasix probably, but other than that, nothing I'm going to grab onto here. So, summarizing this one, it's the 1-5 or the 8 to win for me. I think the 1 is a good sleeper play. The 5 is a iffy, and I think between the 5 and the 8 is where I'd like to go here for that. And I just wanted to look real quick at 5-1 on Good Lord. So maybe look at the tote board at race time and see which one's got the better, the better value, so to speak. But I think Jose Ortiz, like he wins one out of every 4 races, literally, and he's got 9 mounts Saturday. So I'm figuring on him for 2 to 3 wins at least. So he may get one on the 5 here. So I'm going to pick the chalk to win. So you can just comment down below and say he always takes the chalk. So anyway, exotics, I'm going 1, 6, 7, 8. Leg 3 is 1, 5, 8 for the pick 5. And we're doing an open-ended double here. We're going 1, 5, 8 in race number 9, and then over the 2, 3 for race 10. So let's take a look at race 10. That is our feature race of the day, the Commonwealth Turf. Check out Monday's video for the full breakdown, and we'll summarize things and see if I've changed my mind any. So let's take a look. So we're going a mile and a 16th on the turf, and these are for 3-year-olds. We start with California Brito. And you might remember this one for a little run he had earlier in or late in the winter earlier this year, where he actually won the John Battaglia Memorial, going a mile and a 16th, then stepped up to the grade 3 Jeff Ruby, had the lead making the turn for home, but could not hold on, going a mile and an 1/8, just maybe got a little bit too fast. Took a bad step too, so that's forgivable. Then comes up and tries the Pat Day Mile May 3rd at Churchill and was awful. Came out at the start, just didn't handle the slop very well and was done early. So if you just wipe the slate clean, I might wait for this is another one. I might just wait for him to come back to Turfway Park over the winter. That's where I'd like to see him. So passing on that one. Now here comes your probably one to beat is Troubleshooting. Last out wins the Bryan Station. Gets actually a technical grade 1 win in the at Kentucky Downs. Big race there. Nice closing. If you recall some of my previous videos, the early speed was holding. And for this one to close out down the stretch is good news. And especially to come back off a short layoff and get it done again, closing and held on by a neck. So maybe needs to control the pace out front a little bit better. Tyler Gaffleone can certainly do that. Good inside pocket trip coming from the 2-hole. So riding high on this one, 2025, 1.7 million in earnings, 3 for his last 4, just missing that one at Ellis Park back in August. So the trainer does have a solid ROI in graded stakes, but I don't believe you're going to get that same value here. So number 3, Montador, going to be my value play of the race. Godolphin owned and bred. Michael Stidham trains this one. Louis Saez up. 3-year-old colt by Nyquist. I like that sire. Coming off several good turf efforts. Almost went 4 straight. Almost perfect 5 for 5. Got beat a length and 3/4 in the debut on the dirt. So then goes to 5.5 on the turf, wins, stretches to a mile, wins, goes a mile and a 16th and closes to within a head. Then wins by 2 lengths, going a mile and an 1/8. I love how this horse is showing good stamina. Now it is a class hike, so we do have to keep that in mind, and that's why it's probably going to be a value play and not much higher on the odds board. And then you got Anagata coming up, Mike Maker, nice 9 furlong score in the Hawthorne Derby. It was a nifty little rail push by the jockey there to get up there. I'll toss the Kentucky Downs race. Don't hold those against them. Got killed in the gun runner, but 4th, only missed by 2 lengths in the grade 2 Secretariat. So the horse has got some chops, but Mike Maker doesn't in graded stakes. He's just 7% in 312 starts pass. Number 5, Outrunner, likely pass. Anytime I see Jamie Torres, I'm just going to pass, especially when you got 30-1. Now, it does have some positives. Finished third in the Old Dominion Derby and a couple of good second place finishes in Tail of the Cat and others. So that's pretty good. Uh, he's still going to be a pass because of the connections. I just like others better. Manzetti, this was a very interesting horse. Kevin Attard. We don't see him too often, but he's really dominant. He next to Mark Cassidy, he's just the awesome at Woodbine. Now this one has not raced on turf, but has tons of all weather synthetic at Woodbine experience. So that's always good. Has an aqueduct test. They tested the Derby Trail, tried to run in the Jerome, but that didn't work out. So they laid him off till April. Come back, wins the Woodstock, then tries the Queenstone. I forgot Queenston, whatever that is. Didn't get it done there, but bounces right back and wins the Marine. Wins the King's Plate, big wins, and then a second place in the Prince of Wales. Uh, and then the Ontario Derby, another second. Manzetti looking strong. It will depend on how he'll translate to Churchill's turf. The breeding suggests he likes the grass. Now, I forget, it's Petro Moran, dominant jockey at Woodbine. I have no stats on him riding at Churchill, but if he can take to the Churchill grass, which most professional jockeys can, this horse is going to be dangerous. So worth a look there. Then you have Giacoso, number 7, always dangerous with Jose Ortiz aboard. At least you got him out of his element slightly. He's a little bit less than 1 out of 4 on the turf, but he's still 17% winner on turf, which is very good. So Brian Station busted by troubleshooting. Good close, got off slow and had to study and came up through. Got beat by Plenza, who's in this race, in the Gun Runner. Wins the Secretariat. Not a horrible effort. Good close against Zulu Kingdom in the American Turf going back to May. So all these, this horse is just really a tough grinder type who will just pick you off down the stretch. So that's what I like about him. He's versatile, he's improving, and the consistency is there now. So I would definitely be using this one on the ticket. Number 8, Chapman's Peak would be worth a look too. 9-2, Brad Cox, Irad Ortiz. It's probably going to take money. Hot combo going on there. Back-to-back wins after the maiden breaker. Stepped up to Allowance Company and got it done again. So rallying from off the pace, going a mile and 3/16. Another slight cutback. Irad Ortiz up. Cox is firing nearly the same win percentage as Chad Brown on the turf. That's tough. So, Flying Mohawk. This one's interesting. Owned by 2-8 Racing. That's Jason Worth. Whit Beckman trains this one. We all said, most of us said we can't wait to see this horse back on turf. After he just finishes second in the Jeff Ruby and earns his way into the Derby, they try that. Then lays off for months. Months and months and months. Felt like he scratched a couple of different times, and then culminating on the July 4th scratch out of the Belmont Derby, which required emergency colic surgery. So if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like they have to cut them open. It's very invasive depending on how bad the intestines are tangled. But if they're not too bad and they don't have to remove any dead tissue, it's easier to recover. But that was just back in July, and he just began to get back into shape 5 weeks ago. So I don't see how this horse is going to be ready for race day. So take a look at him, see how he runs, and maybe we'll look at him for further down the road over at Turfway Park. So Simulate next up, 12-1. Bill Mott broke his maiden second start. Another impressive mile and a 16th win at the Spa, moving up in class with a strong closing second in the Secretariat behind Giacoso. But since then, he's gone the wrong direction. He got Kentucky down. Sometimes it can improve a horse, and sometimes it knocks you back. This one gets knocked back again, finishes poorly in the Nashville Derby, and then comes back in the Bryan Station, and maybe had some trip trouble, but never got past 10th place. So, I mean, that just tells me that maybe the horse has kind of fallen back. And then Leparoux up, lesser chances, 7% on turf for Leparoux. Now, Plenza's one that I think draws the outside post 11 again. Was not kind to him in the Bryan Station in the 11 post, but there was a whole lot of commotion going on. I read an article, and I forget the jockey's name that mentioned it, but it was like posts 9 through 11 were all whooping it up before the race, causing ruckuses, and Plenza was one of them. She reared up, fractious in the gate, got off a step slow, never got going in the race, and never that rounds out the field. And I mentioned number 2, troubleshooting, the one to beat. I think I just listed number 2, troubleshooting, as likely. Number 3, Montador, value. I think I'm going to bet the 3 to win if I could get the proper value on him. But if you were to key box, I might go with the 2. Key box the 2 with the 3, 6, 7, and 11 is probably what I'm going to do. Then we're going 4 deep since we've got our single 2, 3, 6, 7 for the pick 5, leg 4. Then we got another daily double for you. We're going 2, 3 over 1, 5, 8. So 2, 3 over 1, 5, 8, parlaying these daily doubles or laddering them up, whatever you want to call them. So now let's get to the nightcap, race number 11, and take a look. All right, going 8.5 furlongs on the dirt, 2-year-olds, which have started for claiming price, blah, blah, blah. So this is Vitruvian Man. Doug O'Neill used the Kentucky Downs turf. This is where it worked out this time. So the Kentucky Downs maiden at 100K got him tightened up, and he comes back with a 1.16 score. Now it moves up in class. I don't really mind the 1 post. I know it can be compromising. You can get trapped down in there. But for a sustained closer, you'll get a ground-saving trip and have a chance to break through down the stretch. And with a veteran jock like T-Gaff aboard, I think he's got a great chance to get a good trip and maybe break through, and you'll see him coming up the rail late, or maybe he jumps out into a 2 or 3 path, depending on how the race unfolds. But I like the number 1 horse right off the bat. The number 2 is worth a look too. 2-year-old trained by Kenny McPeak, started his career sharply, got the second and then the win in the next out, but has not gone further than that. And we are going 1.16 miles, so it hasn't been a route. That's a knock. So what we'll do here is stepping up in class, obviously 2 turns, and the 5.9 average win distance. That's another thing keeping me off of this one. Now, McPeak Hernandez, obviously a formidable duo. Hernandez likes to get that rail on the inside, so he might be able to do that too. So let's go with number 3, Collecting. Mike McCarthy is trying this one on the dirt after several turf efforts to start off. Did get a win in the optional claimer where he protected it. Then went to Kentucky Downs, obviously another one that got Kentucky downed, so to speak. Didn't fare very well, and then flopped in the next race, but was really up against a lightning fast pace, so maybe just got chased off the track in that one. Blinkers come off. Chance to improve while returning to dirt. Good stats in those categories, but other than that, not much else to grab onto. So Brazilian Conexio, I just the connections aren't there when you have just these negative stats piled up over here. Even though it did win the last race at a mile, very poor speed figures. Passing there. Now this one I do like, just ASAP. Mark Cassidy trains this one. You can see the maiden breaker left him obviously protecting this one. Then went to the sapling, missed by a neck, battled back gamely on the inside there. Could have gone either way. Lost a head bob. Beating a neck. It wasn't exactly a head bob, but they stepped up and went into the Champagne. And obviously, being beaten 37 lengths in that race is not a good look. But what I'll explain to you is this. Napoleon Solo, go back and watch that race. Napoleon Solo absolutely freaked on the field. This one broke in at the start and got bumped and had to sit back. For a horse that likes to be out on the lead, to get bumped out of the break and blow the brake that early and have to settle back, and then the pace takes off like that, there's nothing you can do but to live to fight another day. And that's what I think this one did. And now we're coming up against a significant class drop. Just ASAP looks really good to me. Front running style, returning fresh, highly competitive here. Big Apple Patrick looks pretty good. Wins the first race out, 84 speed figure, nice debut. Rallied into a slower pace, which is not bad either. Bred to go the distance, so I don't know if adding a little bit further is not bad. But the first around 2 turns could be an issue. But other than that, I got others I like better. Obviously, Tism is another one, long shot that I would pass on. The connections aren't there. Too many negatives. Toss that one. Horse of the Sea. The connections are there for this one, but the results are pretty good, but the speed figures are a little slow. So good win. I'm not sure how you go plus 21, plus 14 at Churchill Downs in a mile and a 16th race and only get a 72 speed figure when you practically go wire to wire up on the front end. So I just don't understand sometimes how they get these speed figures. Maybe I'd have to find out what the buyer speed figure is to compare. But then goes over to Indy and leaves it a little short, going a mile in the slop. Hopped at the start, so maybe just kind of didn't wasn't expecting to get splashed on the break. I guess I'm not really sure, but this one is the like I said, the speed figures aren't overwhelming, but Irad and Brad Cox, this one's going to take money. So if you want to go against, I'm perfectly fine with that. Seal Bay, Ed Moger dropped to 30K. Moger claimed him. Then this is going to be the first off the claim. Moger's only 5%, stepping up in class. The rider's pretty decent, but the interesting part of this story is that he was purchased 2024 for $625,000. So somebody's looking to make some money. I mean, that is a significant price to pay for a horse that just now getting going. So be on the lookout for this one. I mean, Samuel Bermudez is not a bad jockey. He's pretty good. I forget which track he rides out, Prairie Meadows, or I think maybe Horseshoe. I can't recall which track he rides at more, but I think that this one could be a bit of an underneath, maybe exotic sleeper. So we'll have to see. Like I said, the stats aren't great by Moger, but the horse doesn't know that. So Politics is the 10 horse. Mike McCarthy trained, beaten 22 lengths in the debut, then bounces back coming to the turf. So another one that actually Kentucky Downs works for because he gets the maiden win after that, which is nice. Likes the surface, had a little traffic trouble, but was able to duel his way to the front. Now grabs Luis Saez, steps up in class. A horse that you could probably use in exotics, but I'm not putting on the ticket or the daily double or anything like that. So we've got one more horse to discuss, and it's Colt 47. So evidently, Billy D. Williams got Colt 45. So we had to go Colt 47 on this one. Broke his maiden on the turf at Colonial in the fourth start. Then tried the turf again for a bounce. Then comes back to the 7 furlong dirt, where he's probably more comfortable, wins by 4.5, sired by Bolt d'Oro. Now, DeSormo and Lannery are a pretty good connection. They've won one out of their 3 races with positive ROI here recently in the last couple of months. So, I mean, on paper, the 80 speed figure, everything stacks up pretty well. So if he can repeat that effort, then he's definitely in the mix. So now we round out the video with our final leg of the part, pick 5, I should say. So we are going to go 158 on the pick 5. So most likely, I'll put together a bet. So we will take number 5 just ASAP for the win. We are going to use 1, 8, 10, and 11. Underneath that, leg 5 is going to be 158. So now our pick 5 ticket comes together, and we are going leg 1, 2, 5, 10. We single the 4 in leg 2. Then we go 158 leg 3, 2, 3, 6, 7 leg 4, and another 158 leg 5. Don't know if I've gone with the exact same 3 horses in 2 different race combinations, so that's interesting. But that's all I have for this week, but I will definitely be back very soon next week with more coverage. Obviously, Thanksgiving week, Churchill Downs has Black Friday racing, weekend racing, all that kind of good stuff. We are going to get that 3,500 subscribers, so don't make me beg for those last 5 subscribers. Let's hit that $3,500 mark. $35 split the pot draw, 3,500 mark. Click that like button, ABC the L on your way out. See you soon.